Ours is a noble history. We're the only service that still studies history in boot camp, and it's appropriate because we honor the courage of all those who claim the title Marine. Our lineage is traced back to every war our nation has fought, to the fiercest battles of World War I, the islands of the Pacific Campaign in World War II. Our forebears landed at Incheon, battled through Seoul, and fought their way out of the Chinese communist death trap at Chosin. Marines and our corpsmen fought in the Paddies and Mountains of a place called Vietnam, from the DMZ to the Mekong Delta. Marines went to Lebanon and Grenada in the 1980s and helped to liberate Kuwait and Desert Shield and Desert Storm in 1991. Since the attack on 9/11/01, they've campaigned nonstop in Mesopotamia in the shadows of the Hindu Kush. Marines throughout the ages have lived and fought in some of the most difficult and dangerous places on earth and never lost a gunfight. Marines routinely sacrifice the comforts of home, the warmth and affection of loved ones to serve in harm's way. In my book, by the same title, they are American heroes. Heroes are not action figures in spandex suits or capes. Heroes are, by definition, people who put themselves at risk for the benefit of others. You come here tonight with the honor and cherished privilege of being linked for eternity by that title, Marine. Your legacy is etched in blood. It's a personal and sacred trust to be protected and defended. Years after we take off a uniform, others from the Corps will see a bumper sticker or an eagle globe and anchor on our car, a baseball hat, or a t-shirt, and an instant bond is formed. Height, weight, color, MOS, none of that matters. All that counts is the fact that we were Marines. Marines can tell you, they can tell their grandchildren, that they've been part of the finest fighting force the world has ever known. Part of an organization that is our enemy's worst nightmare. A band of warriors with a steadfast devotion to consistent values, competence, courage, integrity, loyalty, perseverance, and compassion. Few of my colleagues in the media understand this. Here's what they don't know and we do. We know that the Corps was founded in a tavern, Tun Tavern in Philadelphia in 1775. We know that there's no coincidence between the fact that there are 24 hours in a day and 24 cans and a case of beer. That's not a coincidence. And that the next day is a national holiday after our birthday. They know that we know that our motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful, isn't just a slogan, it is a way of life on and off a battlefield. And we know that Marines take care of their own, in combat and here at home. We know that the reason why Marines have never failed the American people is because we don't use words like can't, or retreat, or lose. We know the difference between an eagle, globe, and anchor, and 30 different shoulder patches, or different colored berets, or polka-dotted boxer shorts. That eagle, globe, and anchor is enough. Joe Foss was a famous World War II ace, the recipient of our Medal of Honor. He went on to become a brigadier general, the governor of South Dakota, the president of the NRA, head of the American Football League, and the inventor of the Super Bowl. And he was one of my closest friends. Joe used to say that his greatest accomplishment was to be a U.S. Marine. And I asked him why. He said, very simple, almost everything else changes. Congress, presidents, allies, even enemies, weapons, threats, tactics, uniforms, and equipment. But some things never change. And that's the courage and tenacity of Marines. Marines do what's asked of them under terrible conditions, with better results and fewer complaints than any civilized human being should ever expect. I tell my colleagues in the media that Marines have done so much with so little for so long, they can now do anything with nothing forever. Deep in their hearts, even the wimpiest left-wing, limp-wristed, needle-necked dweeb wishes he could have been a Marine. Political correctness has never been a Marine strong suit. 234 years, what Marines do best is walk point for America in the midst of difficult times. Put differently, as a general once said, one of my former lieutenants, who was a classmate of the commandant's, Jim Mattis, then the division commander of the 1st Marine Division, he said, the definition of a Marine, no greater friend, no worse enemy. One afternoon in Ramadi, a place that was memorialized by the commandant, another Marine put it differently. I put the camera on and turned to him and said, we're live. What's your job? He said, Colonel, my job is to meet these guys halfway. He wants to die for Allah. I'm out here to help him do it. That certainly isn't politically correct these days. One of the things that I'm admonished to do regularly by those former Marine lieutenants is to leave some advice behind. So for these young Marines here, a few words of advice from what I've learned in 48 years of being in and around the Marines. First, if you've ever been a fire team leader, and this goes for everybody in this room, if you've ever been a fire team leader or above in combat, you have already had more responsibility than the CEO of the largest corporations on the planet will ever have. The safety, welfare, and lives of others. Second, never enter an hour-long firefight with 30 seconds of ammunition. If you're not shooting, you had better be reloading for another Marine. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting twice because ammo is cheap. This is particularly relevant in engineer school at Fort Leonard Wood. When you see the sergeant from EOD running, that's explosive ordnance disposal, when you see him running, keep up with him. There are 2 rules for arguing with your wife. Neither one works. At home, you can be happy or right. Pick one. Finally, courage and compassion are, in my experience, found in equal measure. And half a life is going to be defined by those with whom you keep company. And keeping company with those whose motto is Semper Fidelis is a good idea in war and in peace. You have my salute to our Corps and our country. God bless both. Thank you.